Just mention that nickname Hanoi Jane to Vietnam veterans, and the devil appears as a frontlet before their eyes. For more than 15 years, that image has burned on command. Last week, Jane Fonda apologized to the vets and their families. "I was naive," she said to Barbara Walters, "and it was a mistake." We had looked into the controversy because Jane Fonda was making a movie in the small towns in Connecticut of Waterbury and Naugatuck, and the vets there wanted no part of Jane. Last week, Jane Fonda went back to the towns to talk to the vets. Our Bill McGowan went back too and was with the Vietnam veterans as they watched Jane.
Over the years, Jane Fonda has played many roles, and by box office standards, quite popular ones. But those who don't care for Jane Fonda politically will tell you that her most memorable on-camera appearance wasn't filmed in a Hollywood studio. It was shot 15 years ago, on location in Hanoi, behind enemy lines during the Vietnam War. But to many people's amazement, this was not make-believe. Fonda's supporting cast was not made up of Hollywood extras. These were the real Viet Cong soldiers who were killing American men. Although some applauded her courage to speak out against an unpopular war, others branded her with the nickname Hanoi Jane, a nickname that has endured for more than 15 years. Now, all these years later, a group of veterans are gathered around their television sets, watching something they never thought in their wildest dreams they'd ever see.
To men who were in Vietnam, who I hurt, or whose pain I caused to deepen because of things that I said or did, I feel that I owe them an apology.
For these veterans, Fonda's attempt to make peace removed the salt from their Vietnam wounds, but it didn't close them yet.
Look at her. Her eyes are gleaming, large and bright. Now, is she on TV screen making a movie, or is she apologizing for something that was really wrong?
The controversy peaked last winter when it was announced that Fonda would come to Waterbury, Connecticut to shoot her upcoming movie, an area which has more than its share of Vietnam veterans. Guys who just can't forget the image of Fonda sitting at the helm of an enemy gunner, a weapon which was used to shoot down American soldiers.
It's so painful for a lot of veterans to watch that movie and to see her reaction on it, which is it's like pure ecstasy.
This is why we are protesting this woman. It shows documented proof why we don't want her in Waterbury. I say no. As a Vietnam vet, sent 2 tours in them. I put a lot of my friends in bags. For this, not in my backyard.
Like everything else for Vietnam vets. Too little, too late. Why didn't she do this 5 years ago? When she knew how Vietnam vets felt about her 5 years ago. But it wasn't to her benefit, financially, to do it then. Now, a week before her movie's to be made, she's coming out and apologizing.
I think it's pretty safe to say that most Vietnam veterans around the country were tuned in Friday night to hear exactly what Fonda had to say. But it was a group of veterans from this area of Connecticut who really hit the jackpot, because the following night, on Saturday, Fonda very quietly slipped into Naugatuck, Connecticut, and agreed to meet with about 26 Vietnam veterans in the church right behind us. But she laid down certain conditions. There were to be no photographs, no videotape cameramen, no reporters. So if there was a reconciliation, it was a very private one. Fonda wanted the meeting to remain a secret, but word leaked out, forcing her to answer some questions.
It's like a catharsis. This is not the first meeting that I've had with Vietnam veterans. And I think that it's not easy for a group like this to get together. And it's very private and very personal. And I was touched very, very much by things that they said. It made me think about certain things in a new way. And I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity. Why don't you talk to some of them?
Fonda's meeting with the veterans lasted over 3 hours, a meeting organized in part by Reverend John McColley, a veteran himself.
She came over to us very genuine, even to some who were very hardcore and very much opposed to the meeting itself.
Did the meeting begin to heal some old wounds?
The statement made by one of the members of the group, which was, I think, the best statement. He said, "The healing has already begun." That was the feeling we had. It isn't finished. There's always going to be some lingering pain and some lingering hurt, but the healing has already begun.
There's a lot of healing, and I think that we all agree that, you know, the time has come when it's good to try to understand what happened and move forward from it. And if I can be part of that process, I'd like to do it.
These veterans are among the only soldiers in modern American history to come home from a war unvictorious. So for them, a moral victory in their 16-year conflict with Jane Fonda was a very important battle.
Did you ever think we'd be sitting here one night and you'd be listening to a televised apology from Jane Fonda?
No, I never did. And it's a credit to all of us and all the veterans and all the Americans that sent the letters in of encouragement to us to keep on going. And we have been severely criticized. We know that. And but I'm very proud to sit here tonight and say we have at least taken that first step.
Time changes. So do people. We'll be back in a moment.
California.